You're watching ASOTUCon 2024, presented in collaboration with Reynolds and Gubagoo.
Thanks to our studio partner, Automotive Mastermind, and our panel partners, iPacket and Gubagoo, for making this panel happen.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael Cirillo. I'm going to be moderating our panel today. In just a minute, I am going to turn it over to our panelists to introduce themselves, and then I'm going to come back and set the table for our discussion. Something you should know if you haven't experienced a panel with me is that it is somewhat of an open dialogue. We don't have a set list of questions, but I will be here to facilitate the conversation. None of them know what I'm going to ask first. In fact, when we were doing the panel prep call, I said, no, whoever sits closest to me will probably get the first question. And Caleb, you're the winner. So let me turn it over to you. Introduce yourself. We'll go down the line, and then I'll come back and set the table for the conversation.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Caleb Torello. I'm with Gubagoo and Reynolds. Been with the auto industry 13 years. I'm a product management supervisor, so bringing you hopefully some technical insights into the way the magic works.
Hi, everyone. I am Ashley Cavazos. I'm the marketing director at DeMontron Automotive Group in Houston, Texas. I've been in automotive just shy of 14 years.
Wow.
And I can't stack up to them, but I'm Andrew Breedlove with iPacket, sales director. Been with iPacket now coming up on 6 years.
Very well. So today we're talking about how to build smoother communication flows from the online, if you guys can see that, from the online to the sales floor. I want to kick it off by saying this. Just show of hands. How are you hearing often, what do we do to improve the customer experience? Is that a topic of conversation that you've heard a lot about? What my hope is today is, as we dig into the subject matter, that whatever you hear, whatever you're inspired by, we each take back and apply to the context of our circumstances. Because each of us, would you agree, has something subtly different going on, right? And in this industry where it's easy for us to be generalists and say, oh, well, we're all car dealers or we're all service providers. We all deal with the same thing, right? We all want more leads and we're become lead zombies and we all have these things. We all want a better customer experience. To hear it at a conference where everything seems so absolute, right? And oh my gosh, I have to do it that way or else we're going to fall out of business really quick. I'd encourage each of us to go back to our businesses and say, now, how do I take what our panelists have discussed and apply it to what I've got going on? That, I would submit, is where the magic happens. That is the nugget that I contribute today. Hi.
Howdy.
So because we hear so much about improving the customer experience and taking the car shopper from an online experience where they have multiple touch points, where they've been doing research and they've been studying and they've been fantasizing and imagining what it's going to be like to drive this vehicle that they've been thinking about, to bringing them into the sales floor. I want to know what your thoughts are on how do we make sure that experience is as seamless as possible?
Well, I think we start off by kind of redefining online. I think someone said yesterday, it's not really digital retailing anymore, it's just retailing. And we need to treat online customers like a live customer. They're the same as someone who's picked up the phone or standing at your reception desk. They're expecting the same level of experience, the same customer experience, the same charisma, gratitude, for coming to your store online as they do, in person. And I think with that is building a chain where their experience where it started all the way through the finish so that everyone is aware of each step, as you said, each touch point that they saw and did. So you're not asking them to repeat things. And two, so that they feel like they were properly handled and not just passed around like a baton throughout the dealership.
It's almost the thing that, despite all of the advancements in technology, as human beings, we all just kind of want the same thing. We want to feel heard. We want to feel seen. We want to feel validated, right? Do you anticipate, AI and all of the things that we're talking about that are going to, lasso the sun, moon, and stars? What are your thoughts, Ashley, for the future? Do you think our needs as humans will ever change in this car buying process?
I think we know the needs of of our customers. And it is exactly what you said. It's transparency. It's making the process simple. It's up to us to utilize the right tools to bring that process forward. So if it is AI, how do you utilize AI? But I think the key to all of that isn't just like doing the tools on your website and making sure you have the right ones in place, but it's, to your point of the session, how do you bring it to the showroom floor? How are we educating our sales teams to handle these customers? And I've had partners such as iPacket, and I'm sure they can attest to this, but when I have a new partner, I make sure that they are involved with that onboarding process. Are they coming to my store? Are they introducing how this customer got to them so they know how to best handle it, and make sure that they're giving the right experience? At the end of the day, we want to sell cars, right? So we need to make sure our salespeople know, hey, I'm going to help you be successful. These are these customers. This is how you talk to them. This is what's going to help you get that engagement to bring them in, but also making sure that everybody, I guess the point is making sure that we're all talking to each other. You can have marketing, but is your marketing talking to your sales team and making sure that they're educated?
It's my avant-garde statement of the day. It's like, to your point, can we get the conversation past, but we feel like the leads suck. We feel like the leads are bad. Because if we never get past that conversation, right? Are you with me? If we never get past that conversation, how, to your point, do we facilitate more meaningful discussions around the thing that actually matters most? Which, maybe I'm wrong here, but it's not actually moving more metal. It's providing an experience for customer that they will rant and rave about to their cohort. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime that, you deal with a customer, like you said, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be felt like they're important. And a lot of times I think we fall into the trap. Ashley, you might be able to attest to this, with your experience, but sometimes customers feel like we're trying to lead them down the path we want them to go to versus meeting them where they want to do business, how they want to do business, right? So when we talk about from the online to the sales floor, maybe that customer is an online customer and we meet them the same way online that we would meet them on the sales floor, or vice versa, right? So you give them that same transparent, very standardized experience no matter where they start, and you really let them set the tone for how they want to do business. You don't say, we do blah, blah, blah online and you have to do business this way, or you don't do business with us, right? Hey, here's our options, right? So I implore you guys, give them options. Let them decide what makes the most sense to them, and you guys meet them where they're at. And I think that really is going to help with that customer experience moving forward.
And pick up where they left off, right? So every customer is different. If I'm chatting online or I'm submitting a lead about a pre-owned car, how far did they get into that process? And when they come into the showroom floor, am I making them start the road to the sale all over again? Or am I picking up where they left off? Yes. If I am asking for trade numbers, or if I'm asking for a quote on a lease payment, don't just focus on getting me in the door, right? Because if I wanted to do that, I would have already walked into your showroom floor and done that myself.
I think it's funny, we say from the online to the sales floor, and we're talking about still just meeting the customer where they're at, right? They've done the research. They've put the time into it. So why start them over again if they walk in the showroom? So to Ashley's point, absolutely ask them, like, hey, have you done any research on this car? Have you done any research on what you want to pay? Have you done any research on lease programs, right? They're going to tell you, because they don't want to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in the dealership, right? They want to get down to it. They want to buy the car. They want to have a good experience, and they want to move on. So just go ahead, Caleb, figuring out really where they're at.
I think part of the problem is when I've visited a lot of, dealers throughout the last couple of years, most people at the dealership are not aware of the full tech stack that they have. And so someone comes in and they're like, I filled this thing out and, I got a response, and they're like, oh, I don't do that. So we got to start over. There's that transparency that we're talking about has to be at the dealership too. And I find that, the BDC and the sales floor at dealerships that aren't performing very well don't know what, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Or they're rewarded on different levels, like maybe one's rewarded on kept appointments and the other one's, looking at gross. And so they have different goals in mind than the customer experience, and it's hurting the overall process and costing them sales.
How about Caleb? You're my boss, right? Caleb, my customer just said they filled a credit application online. I didn't know we did that.
yeah, we have 3 credit apps online. Have you seen them all?
Yeah. So again, to his point, the tech stacks, they have to know what's there. It can't just be, oh, we have this stuff. Like, where is it? How do we find it? What do we do? How do we utilize that, right? And that adds to that customer experience and just the overall feel of making them feel important, because you're educated just like the customer.
And that is my challenge. I know we have a lot of marketing people in the room and at the conference, but that is my challenge to you is if you're not educating your team, and it doesn't have to be like you go in front of them and you train them. Like, you don't have to do that. But you can just give them a quick cheat sheet of, hey, we just launched this new lead provider. Here's a quick snippet of what's going on with them. So when you see these leads, you know where they're coming from. And that's all it takes, and put it on the managers to train that on a Saturday morning meeting or to talk about it on Monday in their one-on-one sessions or whatever, coaching that we're doing. It doesn't have to be a heavy lift, but make sure that we're educating them on what's coming down the pipeline. If I have a new chat provider, hey, like they see this lead, hey, I think I got your lead from Gubagoo. Thanks for it. Or I got your lead from iPacket. Little do they know that lead was actually on your website shopping, and you can say, hey, I got your request from, Demontron Volkswagen or what have you. But making sure that they are aware of these lead sources, because a lot of times they do not know where that lead source came from. And it's just making sure that they have the most up-to-date.
So kind of like a coach with a playbook, right? Like, some players, obviously better than others, they're going to study that playbook, right? Give your team kind of that playbook and say, hey, here's all of our tech stack that we have. Here's all the different things that you guys can be involved with. Here's how you would use them, and let them kind of self-educate. Like Ashley said, like, don't just say, oh, we're going to do a 2 or 3 hour training on this, because nobody wants to show up to that. Let them kind of learn about it and coach them as you go through it, right? But give them the opportunity to know what all is available and let them ask questions.
If I can add on to your playbook, have you used the consumer experience on your website? Have you chatted? Have you shopped for a car? Have you filled out the service scheduler? Because going to dealers are like, yeah, I know we have this or that, but I've never seen it. Right. So how do you know what your consumers are experiencing? You don't know what they filled in on the form or what they looked at because you haven't looked at it yourself. So that's the first step, and it's beyond just the person who makes the purchasing decision for software or things like that. Your whole team should have to go and try it out so they know what their customers are getting into.
When how many times do we get a trade lead and they think, oh, they're just wanting to do a curb buy, and little do they know they can actually submit a trade request on the VDP of a vehicle they're shopping on. So making sure that you understand those pieces of the puzzle as well.
Okay, controversial statement of the day, right? Based on what we're talking about. We're talking about lead submission, right? And how we see those lead sources come in at the dealership level. There's one piece that is void. The piece that lets us know what that customer actually cares about.
Sure.
Would you agree? Because by the time it arrives in the CRM, it's a name, it's what, maybe if they did a credit app, we have some financial information. And I love when we do this. We're like, oh, $87,000 a year as a nurse I know everything there is to know about this customer. And here's what I would submit to you. If you did this exercise right now, I'd invite you to do it. Close your eyes. Think about the last lead you looked at in your CRM. Now think about that person and what you don't know about them. What you don't know. What's their motivator? Now, there are a lot of data points, right? But imagine if you actually knew that Michael Cirillo, who earns X, is actually worried for his son's safety because he's about to teach a 15-year-old how to drive on his wife's Tesla because that kid ain't touching the truck. And that is a motivator for why I'm submitting my information on that particular vehicle. And then guess what we do, to each of your point? When we restart the process, we try and get them into something else, a higher payment, because it serves who better? Us. So when we finally get the lead, despite all of it, it's easy for us, I would submit, to remove the human element. And then that's another thing we have to try and restart the minute we get to shake their hand when they come in the store.
Well, I think part of it is that, leads as a product has grown into throw as much in here as you possibly can. And no one, I think, in the most time is going through the entire body of the lead, all the comments that could possibly be there. So it's really taking more powerful tools that we have now to assist people using technology, I'm going to say it, AI, and machine learning to really evaluate what was this person doing, using things like census data, their location, their history on the internet, what ads they started with, to really paint a full picture. Like you said, what were they shopping for? Did they Google safety features and that's what led them to you? Well, that's what the real lead of the future needs to be able to tell people.
Which then ties right back into our subject matter, which is, well, how do we actually build smoother communication workflows? Because really the point being is, what I'm seeing today, especially with the advent of AI and assisted technologies, is that, but we're still resetting that customer 17 times till Sunday until we finally get to pencil the deal.
And on top of it, we don't know if most of the time, if they bought in your store previously, right? But how do I know that they bought in one of my other stores if I'm an enterprise group? And then I can apply some of that data, or maybe they were in my service.
You just struck a chord. I felt it.
Didn't
over
strike
here.
a chord with me, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because when you've got that many rooftops and everybody's doing different things and you don't have visibility of it, I said, because I could feel her pain.
I think a lot of people are also throwing around another buzzword, CDP, this week. And
How dare you?
And a lot of these CDPs that you're hearing about, they're not real data lakes of information. They have one or two data sources and they're throwing it at you, but they're not a true story. You're not getting the DMS, the CRM, your vendors on your website yourself, Google Analytics, all this compiled. So what the industry needs is an actual CDP that can pull partners across all these different sources, so you can see across your store group, across all your vendors, the true journey of the customer.
And without having to be in a separate tab.
Right.
Yeah, no one needs one more tab.
Yeah. I want to go back to what Michael said, because I thought that was really interesting when we're talking about moving that communication from online to the showroom, when you were giving the example of what you're feeling right now of teaching the 15-year-old to drive, not touching the truck. He's going to drive my wife's Tesla. When you got that lead as a dealership, if you asked questions to uncover that from him, guess what? You just tapped into emotional buying, right? So now you are moving that communication because he feels, what do we say, heard, right? Because I've asked you questions. I've made you feel important. I've dug into your heartstrings of like, no, dude, he's not touching my truck. I have to get him this car, right? So now you're going to do everything in your power to get that. But
I bet we've all experienced this too, right? I'm sure each of us here has an experience standing in line at a grocery store where the stranger in front of us turns around and just bears their soul to us. Have you ever had that? I thought it used to be me. My mom said, you have complaint department written on your forehead. But I know we've all been there. And it just, to me, ties into what we're talking about here, which is that at our most basic function as human beings, we desire to feel connected to another human being.
We want to be heard. We want to be felt. Right? So just, go ahead. You've got good points all the time, so I'm going to let Ashley talk.
I was just going to say, I just don't want to be a transaction, right? Like at the end of the day, our customers know, yep, I'm a commission check for you, but make me feel like I'm more than that. And understand where I am in the journey, recognize it. If you know it's somebody's first vehicle purchase for their kid, like let's have a few things in the car waiting for them. We do the bow, just be aware of that. Do simple things like a thank you card afterwards, or it's the little things that will go so much further with our customers, but tying that whole piece together. I picked up right where you left off when you walked into the showroom floor. I heard you when you were here and what your needs were. And then after the sale, I followed up with you as well. And I didn't just yep, I got what I needed. I'm getting paid next Friday.
Yeah, the auto industry is one of the few remaining that hasn't completely eliminated that human sales component. But we're not taking full advantage of it. Like you said, like being able to insert that empathy and that face-to-face interaction is being missed a lot, and people are more willing to say, oh, well, it's just, you're just buying it. It's that transaction, like you said. We could really take advantage and push it to a whole new level.
I don't think anybody anytime soon is going to enter a prompt into GPT that asks, can I give you a hug? Because we don't desire, we just know we're never going to get that. And it also leads to this thought, which is the best online interactions and marketing actually start offline to begin with anyways, because of our basic human desires, right? If you look at, and this is not me knocking technology because I'm a tech guy. If I could build a suit made of iPads, I would buy it. Like I would totally buy it because I love technology that much. Not like a Kip from Napoleon Dynamite level, but like almost there. Which is to say that when you look at some of the most successful sales professionals in our industry, what tool do they rely on most? Hint, starts with T, rhymes with elephone. And it's something that we all have. It's the most foundational tool that exists, that has existed since Alexander Graham Bell. And to your point about that marrying of in-store communications and tech stacks, I can't help but wonder, maybe it's the Italian in me that just gets cynical about this, but I'm like, if I can't get adoption of this tech stack right here and have my team using it properly, how could I suppose to get adoption on the most advanced tech stacks that are coming out and really bombarding us like crazy right now? And that's not, again, not to say that I don't believe that there is a path here for advanced technology in augmenting what we can do as human beings, but I'm like, can we just get the basics right?
Well,
I'll see myself out.
The fellow Italian will answer you back.
Hey, okay, give it to me.
A little bit of this.
Yes.
You're exactly right. Like I've seen, several technologies that have come out that look super awesome on desktop.
Right.
But your sales team's out and about on the lot, and they're just going to completely abandon that process and move over to the one that worked for them before. And so you're right, adapting all these heavy stack technologies, they're not going to work on the phone. They're not going to work in the dealership long term.
I think that's huge, what you guys are talking about. And I'm not trying to plug us here, but one of the biggest reasons that we developed a mobile app, because salespeople are on the go. They're not sitting at their desks. They shouldn't be,
right.
But they're not sitting at their desks. They're at lunch. They're on test drives. They're at home on their days off. But they can't break that communication flow if you want to keep everything smooth moving, right? So having the ability to have those very important tech stack apps on your phone, I mean, huge.
Ooh,
and I've not heard somebody called telephone. I mean, it's been a while. Cell
It's a bit
phone.
dated.
Telephone.
Cell phone.
We're unlocking something here because I know you and I, Ashley, have had a ton of chats about this from the heart perspective, because I want to make sure we're clear about something here. We're not razzing on now our team saying, oh, they could never figure it out. But there is a tie-in here to what I know you care about and having a real positive impact on humans, which is, so then how do we help our people, the first human interaction that customer will have, feel heard, loved, involved, so that they can then present that to the people that are willing to give us their hard-earned dollars? What are your thoughts?
I mean, and just to kind of back up on the tech stack too, is like, it's very overwhelming right now in our industry. And I think as people, like, tech wise, we have a lot of things we're in on the dealer side. I don't know how many vendor partners I'm having to manage, how many different apps and things that we're looking at. And we're also throwing this to our sales team. And at the end of the day, I just want them to connect with customers. And the easiest and best way I found is doing it through video. Right? Mm-hmm. Just send a video, put a face to the name. Now I'm not an unknown person who's going to like, hey, I got your request. Yes, the car is available. What questions do you have for me? But it's really getting in with your team and helping them understand how important it is and making them remember who we're talking to. Sometimes we talk about like, hey, every lead, right, is $25 to $50, but it's like, it's a person. This is an opportunity for us to serve our community and our customer, and we don't know what that car is going to do for them. This could be a car that's going to get them to work or help get their kids to daycare. It's going to make sure that they provide for their family every day, or maybe it's something fun for them to drive on the weekends. But just remembering that human element and how do we bring things to that interaction with them. For me, a big part of that is video. And helping to, we're online, we're doing social content, for our customers. We're trying to get that brand image out there. And then they submit their request and they get an email and a text and a phone call.
Right. Trent's feeling thing. You struck a chord.
So I want to ask you a question. You can hold yours for a second, because I know yours is probably good too. But for video, because I know there's a lot of people out here, it's like, ooh, video, like my people won't touch that. How, like, video to some people is like, no, like, you want me to shoot a video of what, the car? Okay, cool. No, of you. talking to your customer. They're like, I could never do that. But they'll talk to customers when they walk in the door. Like, why can't they shoot a video? So how do you make, like, for the people out here that are looking to do that, how do you make them feel comfortable enough to want to shoot a video?
Practice.
Sure.
Practice, role play. We tell our finance managers to do role playing every day. Why don't we tell our salespeople to do the same? So like I'm introducing with some of my fellow teammates at Demontron, we're doing some sales training. And part of that sales training is going to be that I want to bring the salespeople in and I want them to practice with each other, sending videos, and then coach each other. Hey, this is what I thought went really well. And I want them to get comfortable with it. And when you feel comfortable with it, then you'll feel more confident in sending that to the customer.
That's good.
Can I ask a question? Live poll. Can we get vulnerable for a minute? You okay with that? Who in the room, be honest with yourselves, be honest with me. Who in the room is afraid to be on video? Show of hands. Okay, so we got 2 honest people and the rest are liars. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That same vulnerability to raise your hand in a room is the same vulnerability to put your face on video. So now that you've overcome that, keep going. I can speak from personal experience as we wind down here in the next couple of minutes. You know, about a decade ago, I talked myself out of putting my face on video for a solid 6 months every day. Scared the crap out of me. It was around the same time that I was starting to go bald. My wife was saying, you better shave your head soon before our kids ask why your hair parts in a circle, right? And I was afraid of my Italian family who I knew were gonna see the video and be like, what is it? He looks like a turtle, right? I was afraid of the comments that I thought I was gonna get, to your point about this idea of getting comfortable. But here's the reality. Did any of my family make comments? No. In fact, the only comments they make are, holy crap, we are so proud of you. Which I know is exactly what will happen in your career in whatever capacity if you take heed to what our panelists are talking about and what Ashley's just expressed. Do it, because only through doing it will you get comfortable, and the dividends through relationships and what it will bring to your personal business will be beyond anything that you could actually imagine. And what's cool about it, as I finish this rant, is video is available to everybody. Everybody. We think, no, I need camera crews and I need the lighting and I need this. You guys know I took a photo last week with my motorcycle. I posted it on Facebook. You know how many people were like, what camera did you use and what video crew? And oh, because you do your podcast thing, you have video crew. I was like, my iPhone 15. It's available to everybody. So that therein lies, as the final thought, the innovative aspect of how do we build a smoother communication flow from online to sales. Utilize the tools and resources you already have access to that are abundantly available to you. And then when you get comfortable with that, start layering in amazing technology augmentation to streamline the process even further. And therein, I would suggest that is how we do exactly what each of you have talked about. Caleb, just in closing, how can those joining us here or that are going to watch after the fact get in touch with you and learn more about you?
Well, anyone here can go stop over at the Gubagoo booth. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts and what's going on in your mind. Anybody online, I'm on LinkedIn. I think the link is on the ASOTU profile. Like to talk to you there too.
Thanks, Caleb. Ashley?
Well, everybody here has the ASOTU app, so you can definitely find me on there, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Ashley Cavazos.
That was a great plug, the ASOTU app. That was good.
Thank you.
LinkedIn and Facebook. I mean, I'm on both. More on Facebook. It's more friendly over there. No offense. LinkedIn is more professional, and you can see I'm the only one that. Well, Michael, you didn't show up in a blazer today, but you know, I like to party, so you can find me on there.
I got one last question.
Yeah.
How many app points do I get for being on a panel?
How many app points?
I want to climb the ladder and the gamification.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? 1 million. You get 1 million points. Hey,
yes.
Thank you so much for joining me. Give it up for our panelists. Thanks for being here, guys.